I want to bring in Callahan Walsh now with Investigation Discoveries in Pursuit. He has been digging into this case as well. Callahan, as always, we appreciate your time. My first thought is when a child goes missing, the grown-ups in charge of that child will scream from the rooftop that this child has vanished and disappeared, and we all try to find her. That was not the case in this disappearance. Help us read between the lines here. This must be rare, this type of event.
This type of case is extremely rare. At the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children last year, we dealt with over 30,000 missing children's cases. Only 100 cases were of this type, which we consider a limb that's lost, injured, or otherwise missing. It's basically when we have almost no information to go on, where a child just seemingly has vanished into thin air. And really, that's what's the problem with this case, is there's such little information that we understand at this point. It makes it very difficult, and the clock is working against us. We're 2 years late on this missing child.
Right, 2 years. We're just hearing about it in the last couple of days. Police are obviously frustrated as well, Callahan. In terms of how they begin this search with all of this time that has gone by, I would suspect that the Department of Child Services, who made that call in 2019, will be somehow involved, but police did not include any of that in their press conference this week. What do you make of that? What stands out to you?
Well, I think law enforcement's really going back to square one. They're looking at the family members. They're trying to find out the custody of this girl at that time. Her and her brother were in and out of foster care. It was last determined that she was in the custody of her father when she went missing. But these are all pieces of the puzzle that law enforcement has to retroactively go back and put together. So that's what makes it so difficult in this case. There is no smoking gun. There is not information, an eyewitness to say, oh, this is the person that kidnapped this child. That's what makes this case difficult for law enforcement to put together. But they're asking for any information that the public can garner. They believe somebody out there knows where this child is or knows the whereabouts of this child, and that's really what they're focusing on.
Right, so they want to jog somebody's memory, whether it's a family friend, a family member, a neighbor, somebody who may have been in school with her. I understand she may have been enrolled in 2019 in a school in her area. So what types of things are police asking the public to rethink, to go back to with all this time?
Law enforcement wants everybody to really try to go back in time and to come up with any pieces of information that they have that might be relevant to the case. And that's really why it's so important for the public to give these tips. Even if a member of the public has a little bit of information, they think, oh, that might be insignificant. It's probably not enough for law enforcement. I don't want to waste their time. No, call law enforcement, give them that tip. That just might be the key that unlocks the door to justice. That might be that one piece of information that law enforcement has been desperate to find. They have eyes and ears everywhere, and they're looking at this whole case, but they are looking for that one piece of information, and that might be held by a member of the public.
Does it surprise you that law enforcement in that press conference were not more forthcoming about the immediate family members and the situation of Harmony, any custody disputes that may have been happening, who she was with? Would not that help the public and jog their memory about this little girl? Are you perplexed as I am that some of that was omitted?
Well, I think law enforcement doesn't want the public to get bogged down in the minutia of the custody and wants to focus solely on the whereabouts of this child. We can point fingers all day and say this person or that person's responsible or this organization, but really what it's about right now is to find this little girl. We can settle all of that later. It's really about the immediacy of finding this little girl and reuniting her with her family or the proper authorities to make sure that she has a safe home to be in.
We're looking at some images from above that house where they searched. Are you hearing anything in terms of your team's investigation into what happened to her? If they found anything, what specifically they may have been looking for?
So the information that has been garnered from the search of that home is not readily available to the public at this point. I know law enforcement is keeping some of this information close to their chest. I know they remain to do so. That can be very important in cases like this. They can't always come forward with information. I'm very much an advocate of letting the public know what's going on because I believe the public can be law enforcement's most powerful and important tool. But there are some pieces of information that need to be held back. At this point, the public just does not know what happened in the search of that backyard. We'll see what law enforcement comes out with in the near future.
How about age progression? Do you suspect that at this point they may come out with a new image of what Harmony may look like? She was 5 at the time. She's 7 now. She's going to be taller. She may look a little different.
Absolutely. Here at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, where my day job is, we do age progressions of these children. I know you showed our poster earlier of what with our information. But that's absolute what we do in our forensics unit at the National Center. We age progress these photos of children every 2 years. Once they've gone missing for more than 2 years, which we consider a long-term missing case, we do age progressions to make an image look like what that child may look like today and try to get that out to as many people as possible, because children, as they grow, of course, they're going to change in their appearance. And we want to make sure that the public has an image that looks like what she may look like today. We do that every 2 years after a child's been missing, after those 2 years, and every 5 years after they turn 18. We just don't age as much or don't change how we look as much after we turn 18. But we never stop age progressing those photos at the National Center until the family or law enforcement asks us to stop. We'll continue age progressing those photos. We'll continue searching for these children because we know that the families won't give up. We know we cannot give up hope on these missing children. We've seen way too many long-term recoveries to ever give up hope.
There are a lot of people on this case. You are one of them. Callahan, as always, we appreciate your time and your information tonight. And again, that reward for any information on Harmony, now up to $33,000. Callahan, we'll be seeing you soon. Thanks again. And if you know anything about the whereabouts of Harmony, contact the Manchester, New Hampshire Police Department. We have that number on your screen right now. It is a frustrating case. We'll continue to dig for answers into how we got here and how we find Harmony. Thanks for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.